land at KelvedonEstate on Tasmania's east coast has felt the trot of sheep for nearly 200 years. Like his forefathers, Jack Cotton still runs 6,000 for superfine wool. But these days it's an extremely dry game.
Our rainfall records go back to 1880, so we're an official recording station for BOM. And this is by far the worst sequence of events by a long way. So, unfortunately, I think last year a lot of us in the area said, we're in new territory now as far as droughts go. So we're deeper into new territory now.
The property is steeped in tradition, but it's a pragmatic approach that's kept it viable.
It was a bit sad when the last cow left the farm, I guess, 7 years ago. That was back in 1994, but it's all changed. You've got to do the sums and stick to the enterprises that make money, otherwise you might end up not being a farmer and have to do something else. So it's a tough reality, I guess.
10 years ago, the farmer decided to turn a small part of his property into vineyards.
I asked lots of questions, did a TAFE course, did the sums, and it stacked up.
This week it was named Vineyard of the Year by the Royal Agricultural Society. While his descendants chose the land for traditional farming, they couldn't have picked a better spot for cool climate wine growing.
I'm a little bit blessed really, because it's a frost-free environment. We've got the Oyster Bay out there as a moderating effect for temperature.
He's in a beautiful spot. It has a lovely maritime influence. And it is a dry area, no question, but he controls his irrigation carefully.
The estate produces high-end grapes for the world's largest wine company, Constellation, formerly Hardy's, as well as producing a small amount under its own name.
I guess the proof's in the pudding. We've had 3 gold medals for our Pinot now, 03, 06 and 07, so I guess we must be doing something right.
Kelvedon runs, a very strict regime in terms of the way he prunes, sprays and runs his vineyard.
It's a much more lucrative business than the sheep.
It's been pretty tough the last 4 years, so, and the vineyard science side of the enterprise has been a real bonus to us. It generates more income than the sheep do now. I mean, it's 7 hectares there against 3,000 hectares that we run sheep on.
It's also less thirsty.
Works out through the growing season about 3 megalitres per hectare, which isn't thirsty at all. A lucerne crop, if you're cutting it for hay, would use quite a bit more than that. Poppies would be 3 to 4 megalitres per hectare. Potatoes would be considerably more. Put a dam in at the same stage as developing this site back in 2000, and it's been a blessing because it runs all the stock water and domestic water at the same time. So without that, we probably wouldn't have any sheep on the property at all.
The area is considered one of the few emerging wine regions in Australia, and many of those starting up are traditional farmers. The big players are also showing interest though.
But there's already last year there was considerable interest from New Zealanders from Marlborough to expand their Sauv Blanc production because they're running out of space in the North and South Island.
Constellation have flagged Tasmania as being their source for premium sparkling wine.
We're going to plant 2 more hectares this year for Constellation, for sparkling, to hopefully meet their Arras target, which is where the money is. So, and the company is quite keen to have other growers here too, so I'm encouraging other growers to look at those opportunities.
Despite the change, sheep will most definitely be staying at Kelvedon, and not just for sentimental reasons.
Certainly won't die off because there's a lot of country here that really can't be used for anything else but to run superfine wool, which is good. I mean, it's a terrific product, and it'll be its saving grace in the end because it is such a natural, clean green product, if you like. And
would you like to see the estate stay in the family for generations to come?
Oh, definitely. I sort of have to in a way because we've got our own family graveyard, so it's a little bit hard to move.